I am Sam Morril, and this is the first time I ever heard Leonard Cohen's Live in London. I was probably on the road when I really took it in, where I was just like, damn, these are like all my favorite songs collected into one album. I discovered Leonard Cohen through a friend who just was like, had very sophisticated taste. I mean, he was one of those kids that just was like, oh, you haven't seen Pulp Fiction? I'm like, I'm a sixth grader, dude. Like, why would I have seen? So then he'd show me every movie. And I was like, oh shit. It really hit for me when I was a road comic. Like, I'd be going through breakups and his lyrics were they just felt so truthful. Live in London. It's a great live album because it ropes you in. Yeah, I mean, this is what I love about it. It starts with Dance Me to the End of Love, which is such like a lovely song. And then the next song is The Future, which is like, we're fucked. So I just love that he can open with like Dance Me to the End of Love and then be like, I've seen The Future. It's murder. I love it because he's funny. Leonard Cohen is really funny. He's aware of how miserable he is, and I think that makes him funny. I think Rolling Stone called his greatest hits the most depressing collection of songs ever written. Then he goes to Ain't No Cure to Love. Then he goes to Bird on the Wire. Then he goes to Everybody Knows, which is a hilarious song. Everybody knows that you love me, baby. Everybody knows you really do. Everybody knows that you've been faithful. Oh, give or take a night or two. I mean, like, that's a hilarious way to be like, you've been fucking around. His humor really resonates with me. I mean, the song Chelsea Hotel, there's a line where he says about Janis Joplin, you told me again you preferred handsome men, but for me you'd make an exception. Like, how many rock stars are like, I'm ugly? I mean, look at Axl Rose. Like, Axl Rose isn't gonna be like, I'm ugly, you know? I saw him live. He had a couple stock like jokes he would do in between songs. Actually, Leonard Cohen started as a stand-up comic. A lot of people don't know this. So I think that was kind of built in. Like, there's a documentary on YouTube about him and he's doing bits and he's a funny guy. So I think it was like, this guy's a cool guy. He's clearly depressed out of his mind. He makes jokes about being on Prozac and he's calling himself ugly, but he's not ugly. But he's like, I'm ugly. I mean, it's cool to see a rock star not like himself, I guess. It felt like a comic. I mean, that whole album, I think just hearing it on the road, it was good music for me to listen to after a breakup. Because, you know, everyone has that breakup mix, you know, and I always liked that there was a real hopefulness, like he was trying. And you got the sense, like, I've watched all the docs and stuff on Leonard Cohen. I was like, wow, you really got the sense. I mean, So Long Marianne is like the most beautiful breakup song I've ever heard. I mean, it's, and I like hearing him sing it as a young guy, but then when he sings as an old guy on this album, you're like, oh man, you could like hear that he lived life in that voice. So I love that.